Every morning, millions of people opened the NewsNow app before they even got out of bed. Its founder, Ethan Cole, had built the largest news platform in the country. He was proud of it, at least he used to be. One Tuesday morning, Ethan sat in his office, studying a report from his analytics team. The numbers made no sense. A headline about a local teacher paying school fees for 50 struggling children had received only 3,000 views. A story about a dog rescuing a lost toddler had barely crossed 5,000. Yet a report about a celebrity cheating scandal had exploded to over 2 million views in less than 6 hours. Another article about a violent robbery had broken all previous records. Ethan stared at the screen. "How is this possible?" he asked. His assistant shrugged. "People are more interested in bad news." Ethan frowned. "No, that can't be it." But deep down, he knew she was right. Over the next few weeks, he studied user behavior. The results were disturbing. Positive stories were often skipped. Negative stories were opened instantly. People spent longer reading articles about disasters than articles about success. The pattern repeated itself again and again. One evening, Ethan decided to conduct an experiment. For one day only, he instructed his editors to feature only positive headlines on the app's front page. Stories of courage. Stories of generosity. Stories of hope. The next morning, the internet erupted. Users flooded social media with complaints. "Where's the real news? Why are you hiding things from us? What's going on?" By lunchtime, app traffic had dropped by nearly 60%. Ethan sat quietly in his office. The experiment had confirmed his worst fear. People claimed they wanted good news, but their actions told a different story. Then, at exactly 4:17 p.m., a message appeared on his screen. A message that would change his life forever. The sender was anonymous, and the subject line contained only 6 words. "I know why people choose fear." Ethan stared at the anonymous message. "I know why people choose fear." For several seconds, he didn't move. Then he clicked. The email contained only one sentence. "If you want the answer, meet me tomorrow at 7 p.m. at the old railway station." No name. No explanation. Just a location. The next evening, curiosity got the better of him. At exactly 7 p.m., Ethan arrived at the abandoned station on the edge of the city. The place was nearly empty. Only one person sat on a wooden bench. An elderly man dressed in a faded coat. As Ethan approached, the stranger smiled. "I knew you'd come." "Who are you?" Ethan asked. "Someone who spent 40 years studying human behavior." The old man pointed toward the tracks. "Tell me, Ethan, if I told you there was a 1% chance a train was about to derail and crash here, what would you do?" "I'd leave immediately." The old man nodded. "Exactly." Then he asked another question. "What if I told you there was a 99% chance every train would arrive safely?" Ethan shrugged. "I wouldn't think much about it." The stranger smiled. "That's the answer you've been searching for." Ethan frowned. "I don't understand." "Good news feels normal," the old man said. "Bad news feels urgent." The words hung in the air. For thousands of years, humans survived by paying attention to danger. The people who ignored threats didn't live long enough to pass on their genes. Ethan listened carefully. "Your audience isn't choosing bad news because they're evil," the stranger continued. "They're choosing it because their brains are wired to notice potential threats first." The explanation made sense. Yet something still bothered Ethan. If that's true, he asked, why do I feel like something is wrong with the world every time I open my own app? The old man's smile disappeared. Because someone has learned how to exploit that instinct. Ethan's heartbeat quickened. What do you mean? The stranger reached into his coat and handed him a folder. Inside were documents that would expose a secret worth billions of dollars. Ethan opened the folder with trembling hands. Inside were reports, internal emails, and research documents from some of the world's largest media companies. One sentence appeared again and again. Fear increases engagement. His stomach tightened. The documents revealed a disturbing truth. Articles that triggered anxiety generated more clicks. More clicks produced more advertising revenue. More revenue meant bigger profits. The formula was simple. And billions of dollars depended on it. For years, companies had learned that fear kept people scrolling. The old man watched Ethan's reaction. Now you understand. Ethan slowly nodded. The world isn't as terrible as people think it is. No, the old man replied, but terrible stories spread faster than hopeful ones. Ethan closed the folder. For the first time, he realized that his own company had become part of the problem. Without intending to, he had helped build a machine that rewarded fear. The next morning, he called an emergency meeting. Executives crowded into the conference room. When Ethan announced his plan, the room erupted. You can't be serious. Our traffic will collapse. We'll lose millions. Ethan listened quietly. Then he displayed two charts on the screen. The first showed profits. The second showed rising levels of anxiety reported by users who spent hours consuming negative news. The room fell silent. We have a responsibility, Ethan said, not just to inform people, but to tell the truth about the world. Over the following months, news now changed. Bad news was still reported. But stories of courage, kindness, innovation, and hope were given equal attention. At first, traffic dropped. Investors panicked. Critics mocked him. But something unexpected happened. Users began sharing positive stories. Communities formed around solutions instead of outrage. Gradually, trust returned. 1 year later, Ethan received another anonymous email. It contained only one sentence. People notice bad news first, but they remember hope longer. Ethan smiled. Then he looked out his office window at a city full of people. Some struggling, some succeeding, most somewhere in between. And for the first time in years, he wasn't afraid of the headlines. Because he finally understood. The world becomes what we choose to pay attention to.